Hey everybody, it's Shannon. As some of you know, my Arabic nickname is Wafa Al-Otaibi, okay? And Al-Otaibi or Al-Atban is one of the larger tribes in Saudi Arabia. Although I'm not of Arab origin or descent, I was really curious to learn more about Al-Otaibi, the lahja or the lakna, and the kind of what are some of the nuances that set apart Al-Otaibi dialect from within the family of kind of Najdi dialects, all right? For this video, I had the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Wafa Al-Otaibi. She got her PhD in applied linguistics and second language acquisition, all right? And so I hope you guys enjoy my conversation with her. I had a blast, so here we go. I have a very puzzling statistic for you. According to my analytics, 70% of you watching are not actually subscribed to my channel, and even fewer of you have the notification bell on. Oh, and since a lot of you are hailing from the Middle East, let me say it in Arabic. يا أجمل وأعز مشاهدين في العالم. قريت شيء مرة احترت منه. يبدو إن 70% منكم ما سووا اشتراك لقناتي وما شغلوا الجرس hub notifications. ليش طيب? So as you watch this incredibly satisfying time lapse of me and my element, I hope you'll do me a favor and help out the YouTube algorithm with a huge like and subscribe. Thanks. Love you guys. أحبكم.
كيف حالك؟ الحمد لله, I'm really fine. Thank you so much for having me today with you.
Yay. And where are you right now? Are you in Riyadh or somewhere else?
No, I'm in Jeddah right now.
Okay. And originally from where? Where did you grow up?
Actually, the Ataibi tribe comes spread from Hijaz, Taif, north of Taif until Riyadh. This is the region of Ataibi, and we can say we can divide them into two, Hijazi Ataibi and Najdi Arabic. Actually, I'm Hijazi, okay, Hijazi Ataibi.
Oh.
Yeah, but we will talk about the dialect, okay?
Yeah.
But regarding the original, I'm come from Taif, actually.
From Taif, okay.
Yeah. الحوية.
الهوية. يعني
حوية.
هوية.
It's a small village, you can say, a small area near Taif, north of Taif, and this is actually the original of us. But I was born here in Jeddah, raised up in Jeddah, so actually I don't know even Al-Hawiyya. Where is it? Or yeah.
So you grew up speaking more Hijazi?
Yes, actually, yes.
And then you ended up studying languages. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Okay. Actually, my father is Bedouin Ataibi, and my mother is Hijazi.
Oh, wow.
My mother, she's from Harbi dialect, Harb tribe.
Harbi.
Yeah, Harbi. Harbi. Some of Harbi are Bedouin, and some of them are urban.
Oh.
Where they located in the cities like Mecca, Medina, Yanbu. So she actually from Yanbu and Medina. So her accent is typically Hijazi. My father is typically Ataibi Najdi dialect. So I was born in this we can say two cultures. I started to love English since my father was completing his studying in USA and in LA, and then we moved back to Saudi Arabia when I was about 10 years old. So I grew up with this kind of multi varieties of languages around me. So I started to love English, and actually the varieties of English, and then the varieties of Arabic. I finished my bachelor degree in King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah. Yeah, and then I had my master degree also in King Abdulaziz. After that, I moved to have my PhD in Southampton University in UK. Wow. I did my thesis 2018, and I'm back here as an assistant professor in King Abdulaziz University.
ما شاء الله عليك. أول شيء مبروك. يعني
Thank you.
ضخم.
Thank you.
And your PhD you said it was in linguistics, right?
Yes.
Arabic dialect.
Yeah, and it's actually in applied linguistics. My major is applied linguistic and second language acquisition, but my dissertation was about the dialects, how the teacher's L1 dialect, which is first language of the teacher, the dialect of the teacher, could affect the language of English of the student. So if we have a Tunisian teacher who has the Tunisian accent in Arabic, Egyptian teacher and Saudi teachers, those are the three, we can say the three stereotypes we have in our working at this university, or the most hired, the most hired number in our institute. So that's why I took those as a sample, and I studied their dialect and how this Arabic dialect could affect their English, and eventually would they affect their students' pronunciation of English or not.
Oh, that's very cool. So tell me more about it.
So what do you think? Is there an effect?
Well, I think because, I mean, I know Tunisian is so different from, I feel like in Moroccan, Tunisian is like very different dialect from like the more like Saudi dialects, I would say, and Egyptian too is like, in the sense that like they'll like certain letters they don't really pronounce, like you say galam and that's like alam, a'uluk, whereas for me, that's what I think I like is like the qaf is a ga as opposed to that. So I'm sure it's got to affect it in some way.
Yeah, actually, this is actually could be true if it's applied to lower level of English, or we can say younger the younger children, the young learners.
Okay.
If the teacher is a Tunisian teacher, her English accent will be affected by her Tunisian accent.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the Egyptian teacher. She may say, "This is a book." And therefore, because of her Arabic,
the dal is more like a za, like zay.
Yeah. They substitute the Egyptian dialect. They substitute the th sound with z sound. So they said this is.
Like بالضبط, they say بالضبط.
بالضبط, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's why their English could be affected by their Arabic L1. And eventually they will be affected by their student will be affected. The student pronunciation could be affected by their teacher if the students are young. But my study was applied on the freshman student in King Abdulaziz University. So actually there was no effect. There was no effect because they have the phonetics from their Saudi teachers in intermediate and in high school. Okay. So they noticed that this word is not correct from their teacher. So they go back to the correct themselves using applications, using translators or something like that.
Got it. And would you say that most Saudis, when they're learning English, they're learning it, so they're learning it from a native Arabic speaker?
Native Arabic, mostly yes. Okay. Mostly yes. Now, all teachers in governmental schools are Saudis. Okay. So they are affected by their Saudi accent. Okay. And imagine what if the teacher comes from Hijaz, her English is different from the teacher comes from Najd.
Can you talk about that? Like, what does it sound like? Somebody coming from Hijaz, a person Najd.
Again, okay. Hijaz is the dialect of the western region of the Saudi Arabia. Yeah. It's actually the region surrounding Jeddah, Mecca, Medina, Yanbu. This is the region where all the pilgrimage come to do the Hajj and so on. So they exposed to many dialects. That's why we can say phonetics and phonology are affected by others. Okay, so most of the Hijaz, not all of them, most of the Hijaz, they substitute the th sound or the interdental sounds like th, the, okay, all these are substituted by th is substituted by ta or sa. So instead of saying thalatha, they say talata.
Talata. Okay.
Yeah,
Talata.
thalatha, they say talata.
Like a ta. Okay.
Yeah, the th is pronounced as sa or ta. So they could say salasa.
Oh, salasa.
Salasa or talata.
In Hijaz, that's not. What about Najdi?
Najdi, they pronounce it as tha.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the first, we can say, phonetic. To differentiate between two dialects, that you have to differentiate the levels as well of the dialect, the levels of the language. The first level is the phonetics and phonology, as you know. So they differ in the phonetics and phonology. All in the interdental sounds. Okay. The sound, like then, they pronounce it as zin.
Okay.
Okay. So za. Okay. It's like Egyptian in that way. And also the va sound, va. Okay. Also is za, the same thing. Okay. So all the interdental are, we can say, facilitated by ta or sa.
Okay.
Okay. This is about the phonetics. While in Najd, they pronounce it totally as is, like tha, the, va. And they overgeneralize the using of the, okay, with the da sound, which is the dab. You know dab?
بالضبط.
بالضبط. They said بالضبط, not بالضبط. With da. Okay. So they overgeneralize the va sound.
Okay.
Okay. What is distinction is in Hijaz is the trill dra.
The trill?
Ra.
The ra, rolling the R, the ra.
The ra, the ra. Ra. Rahna, marra. Okay, this is it. Marra. Same thing is applied in English as well. For instance, rat.
A rat.
A rat. They said rat.
A rat. Yeah.
Rat. Yeah.
Rat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So they use the same features of Arabic or their dialect on their English.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like the Najdi dialect. Also, the last we can say different between Hijaz and is the use of the ja sound.
The ja.
We have in English we have two kind of ja. Ja sound like the word judge.
Ja, yeah.
The ja, which is DJ. Sometimes they write it like that. And also the ja sound like the word garage, rouge.
Oh, this kind of softer, garage.
Exactly. So in Najd, they don't have the ja sound, the softer one that you called. Yeah, they don't have it. Also in the classical Arabic, there is no ja sound.
But what about how do you pronounce a jim then in classical?
It's a jim. It's, as you said, it's ja sound.
The ja. Not a ja. Okay, so there's no softer ja sound.
Yeah, there is no, it's actually like that. However, all of the Arabic dialects, except for the Najdi, and I think some of the Gulf, they pronounce both of them, the ja sound and the ja sound. So the teacher in Hijaz, she could say, what word? Like judge.
Judge. Oh, instead of judge.
Judge. Yeah. Okay. While a teacher from Najd, she said judge and roj. And roj.
Roj?
Roj.
Like the, how's it spelled?
The ja.
The
R-O-U-G-E.
Oh, like the rouge. Okay, like the French
rouge.
Like for the rouge.
Or garage. They don't say garage. Say garage.
Garage.
Yes.
Garage.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we can say that we have two kinds of ja. The softer one is used in Hijaz. The darker one, which is the ja sound, the affricate use in Najd.
Okay. So I've heard like like Al-Atban, they say like, oh, Atban dialect. And so I guess like, I don't know, is there one like for Al-Otaibi? Because I heard like Abkunt Alamits is like a very like Otaibi thing, but I don't know, is that like Najdi or is that like more Hijazi or is that
What is it again, please?
So there's this phrase, Abkunt Alamits.
أبكنت علامك.
Abkunt Alam. Yeah. Is that like an Otaibi phrase?
Exactly, because of abk. Because of abk. Abk, عانو, that's mean look at it. Okay.
Oh, not like شوف.
Yeah, يشوف. لا, عانو يعني look at it. Yeah, it's an order.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay,
عانو. Good, I'm learning.
Okay. So abk, عانو, and mer. The word mer, mim ya ra, which is mean lakin, but.
I never heard mer.
مير مير مثلا رحنا رحنا الجواز مير ما في دق.
رحنا ليش؟
الجواز مير ما في دق.
مير ما في دق. But there was nobody dig?
Yeah. No one sang. No one sang.
Nobody sang?
Nobody, yeah, exactly. Nobody sang.
ما في dig.
ما في dig. There is no participation.
ما في dig. Okay. Like the gate I thought it was like.
Yeah, like this is the knocking. Yeah, knocking, and also the dig. That's mean the participation of the in the wedding.
Mer.
Mer.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Mer, yeah. So that's why this is one of the lexicon of the Ataibi as well.
Okay, but is that considered Najdi or Hijazi? Or
yes, definitely. Ataibi dialect is considered as northern dialects of the central northern dialects of the Arabian Peninsula, including سباعي, البقوم, most of the Najd tribes, Ataiba, Harb, which some of the Harb are located in Najd, and those are all of them. They speak the same features. They have the same features. Not all of them, but they are sharing the same features of the northern dialects of Bedouin northern dialect of the Arabian Peninsula.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, one of them is the affricates, like جديد, did قلت لك, did.
Jid?
لا, did. It's like, I don't know, like
Qaf and dal?
D, yes, exactly. Qaf and dal, yeah.
Good. Oh, like, yeah, like I did it. Good. Like
good. Yeah, it should be good, okay? But we pronounce it as did. We put a da in front of it.
So
did.
So the qaf da becomes like dal.
Da za. Da za.
Diz.
Did. Diz قلت لك. Did لا did. Za da.
Za da. So the qaf dal becomes like za dal.
Yeah, how do you
did.
Yeah, exactly. Did قلت لك.
Gidi, like Gidi Soweto, like I already did it.
Yes, did سويته.
Zid.
Yeah, zid. So like we have a part in Tash Matash. He said, disease.
How do I write it?
Yeah, I think it's Abdullah Sadhan when he said to Yusuf al-Jarrah, yeah, and that's mean dagiga. Okay, so all the ga sound is pronounced as da, disease.
The is pronounced like da, za.
Yeah, all the ga sound pronounced as da.
He said,
yeah, dagiga.
Ziziza.
Yeah, it's not disease. It's disease, okay?
Diziza.
Yeah, it's like that.
يعني دقيقة.
دقيقة,
yeah.
دقيقة, yeah.
And that's in like Najd, that's Otaibi.
Definitely in Najd, all of the Najd dialect.
That's all Najdi, okay.
Yeah, same thing with the tah sound, like shlonitz.
شلونت
شخبارت تيس هو الكيس
كيس yeah becomes
keys, which is a bag, like ta sa. All the ka sound
is like
transferred. Yeah, ta sa. Like shlonik. This is what I think. This is a linguistic, totally linguistic. Yeah. So all the ka sound pronounced as ta sound. So shlonitz, shachbaritz.
But even to a man?
Like, no, only for female. Only when we talk to females. Okay. But the ka sound, if it's in any place of the word, we could replace it with ta. So tis, like, yeah.
But like, so I say like, so instead of saying kefak to a guy, I would still say kefak, but to a girl, I would say kefitz.
Kefitz.
Okay.
Awesome. They actually don't use the word kefik. They said shlonitz.
Oh, shlonitz. Okay, shlonitz.
Yeah. Kef
shlonitz
is Hijazi kind of.
Yeah. Shlonitz to the girl, but to the guy, they would say shlonak.
Shlonik.
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 But to the girl becomes. But so how come? So why does the calf stay as a calf when they're talking to the guy? Like, why is it kefak, like kefik, but to the girl, shlonak, or shlonik, and then to the girl
shlonik. Shlonitz. Actually, this ka sound also derived into the all the Gulf, as well as you can say in Kuwaiti, shlonich.
Yeah, that's right. And Emirati too, or they say
Emirati also. Yeah. So we can say that the differentiate between the six in addressing, it's only in the ka sound at the end of the word.
Okay. So people from Al-Otaibi tribe, most of them, would you say they speak like Najdi, or would you say some of them speak Hijazi, or is it like mixed?
Yeah, they have the same features, except for the jah sound. They have the jah sound as Hijazi. Jina or rohna, Jina.
Gina, we came.
Gina instead of Gina. Okay.
Gina.
Yeah. This is one of the most important, we can say, feature between Ataibi, Hijazi, and you don't believe it. Some of the Ataibi in Mecca, they actually, if you hear him speaking, you can't say that he's Hijazi. He's Ataibi. He's typically Hijaz because he was born and raised in Mecca. So actually, Ataibi who lived in Hijaz, they are affected definitely by the of course the Mecca region, the Mecca dialect and the Hijazi dialect of Mecca.
Okay.
I would like to introduce you to my master thesis or master dissertation. It was about code switching. You know, the code switching, when a speaker like you now, you code switch between Arabic and English.
Like
same thing as
switching languages.
Switching languages, or sometimes switching phrases, or switching words. So this code switching, what are the functions of code switching between Ataibi dialect to Hijazi dialect? And that was a case of my father. I studied my father as a sample. He was the case study, and I recorded him in many situations when he spoke to Bedouin man or from the same tribe, when he spoke to his friend in work, when he spoke to me, as his daughter, and it's the same. So I found out that there are many functions why he switched between his Ataibi dialect to Hijazi dialect and vice versa. Some of them of the addressee. If the addressee is different, I want to communicate with the addressee. So if he comes from the same tribe, he used the same language of the tribe, of the same dialect of the tribe. This is the addressee. If he talk about something about his education, about his life in Hijaz, he used Hijazi dialect, not his original Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when he talks to me, yeah, as his family, he also used the same language, which is Hijaz.
Mm.
So yeah, these are the functions of why people switch between one dialect to another or one language to another.
Mm. So did your dad growing up, did your dad grow up, he was speaking, he grew up with Najdi? And then
Yeah,
he kind of learned
until
Hijazi.
yeah, until he moved to USA to study, and then met my mother and get married to my mom. After that, he switched. Also, most of his work, friends in his work or his colleague are Hijazi speakers. So he used the Hijazi speaker in work as well.
Okay.
So education and work is Hijazi, like it's one box here, and his tribe and original place in Ataibi one side, and he switched between those.
And so for you, like, would you say, okay, you're fluent in both, you speak both Hijazi and Najdi?
Yeah.
And it's very easy for you to tell, like, to switch back and forth?
Yes, of course. And I got married to Ataibi man. Okay, and actually his family also is very very Bedouin in comparison to me.
Okay.
No, so I have my own iPhone with me. So when his mother says something very interesting, I have to write it down. Very interesting.
So tell me some of the things that you learned from his mother.
I wrote it down, and
Oh,
inshallah, inshallah, one day I'll make a book out of that.
Yes.
One of them is like, it's like a phrase. طبقت أرضك على ما فيها يا رب كفينا موازيها. طبقت, she talks to Allah or prays to Allah. طبقت أرضك, you fold the ground, الأرض, you fold the ground on what is has. Okay. طبقت أرضك على ما فيها.
على ما فيها, on what it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
أرضك على ما فيها.
يا رب اكفينا موازيها.
يا رب اكفينا
موازيها. Anything could hurt us from it. الأذى.
I've heard of ikfina. Like ikfina meant like
protect us. Yeah, protect us from anything could hurt us from it.
Oh. Well,
yeah. That's very interesting. يا رب طبقت أرضك على ما فيها. يا رب كفينا موازيها. What else? Really, some like that, you know. Yeah. I'll ask you, what is the meaning of وش الوجبة?
وش الوجبة is like, what's the food gonna be, right? الوجبة, right?
That should be like that in our generation.
Right.
But actually, no. وش الوجبة means what is the date today?
Oh, الوجبة, like التاريخ, ايش التاريخ?
التاريخ اليوم, yeah. So it's really interesting to know that. Yeah, especially I'm a Ataibi. I grew up in Ataibi tribe, but still these are some words we can say extinct. Yeah.
Yeah, like people don't use them anymore.
No. Even my father's generation, they don't use it. I think my grandfather generation could use it, but I heard the word and I wrote it down. So it's really interesting to know that.
وش الوجبة?
وش الوجبة?
Why do you think they said that to mean the date?
الوجبة, that's mean what is exactly واجب علينا اليوم.
Yeah, I'm thinking واجب is like the duty, or like the homework.
Yeah, the
واجب,
duty,
you know?
Yeah.
وش
الوجبة.
Huh.
It's really interesting, and I don't know what's the original of it actually.
Yeah, that's really okay. What else? What was like the crazy? What's another thing that you heard from her that you were like, oh, I never heard that?
The word حماية, you know, حماية.
Protection.
الحماية, like the mother-in-law. Hamati.
Oh, mother. Okay, Hamati. Oh,
Yeah,
that,
my
okay.
mother-in-law Hamati.
Hamati.
Okay. Yeah, in Hijazi dialect they called Hamaya. Okay,
Hamaya.
is Hamaya is like my father, my husband's father.
The husband's
Okay?
father is okay.
Which is father-in-law. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's called Hamaya in Hijazi. However, in Ataibi dialect or in Najd dialect, we can say Hamaya, anyone related to husband, even his brother, we can say this is my Hamaya.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So in Hijaz, only related to the father of the husband, while in Najd, or anyone related to the husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, would you say that? So Al-Otaibi dialect. So would you say Al-Otaibi is their own? They have intum lahja khasa. Would you say Al-Otaibi is like Najdi nafs al-shay?
No,
No.
we can. Yeah, Ataibi. I don't want to generate, but I would say that most of the Ataibi persons or all Al-Atban, okay, they speak the same dialect even in Iraq.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they share the same features, and you can hear from the hearing. Yeah, sometimes I know some people without reading their badges. Oh, he's Ataibi from the dialect. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's really obvious. Like the word I told you, up,
Up.
ana, yeah, up, ana, alama. Some of the features, like for instance, they replace the wa sound, wa, okay, with the sound, or ya with a. Like for instance, bev, you know, bev,
Egg.
eggs, yeah. They say bath.
Bath.
Bath. The
Bath.
ya, they pronounce it as a.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So yeah,
Bath.
it's like an okay.
Yeah. The a is like a. A pronounced as a.
But in Najdi, they don't. Is Najdi different? They is more like.
Bath. No, yeah, Najdi is different, we can say. So this is one of the features of Ataibi, actually.
So Ataibi, would you say it's closest to Najdi, but they have their own stuff, or Ataibi is very different from Najdi?
No, they are included in Najdi with some other features, with extra features.
Oh.
So we can say Najdi is like that, is
Mm-hmm.
a big circle, and Ataibi is a small circle inside Najdi.
So what else is in like the Najdi like family of dialects? Would you say? So Najdi, Ataibi, what else?
Asba', Al-Mutayri, Asba', Al-Bqum, all of these tribes sharing the same features of Najdi. With the ta, the za that I told you. Yeah. Al-Bqum is more related to Ataibi because of the geographical areas, near geographical areas.
Okay.
Ataibi and Al-Bqumi. So actually, most of them are having the same features.
So like the main is like the qaf and the dal becoming da, za, za. That's kind of all Najdi.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of the all Najdis, we can say, they're sharing the same. I came across one of the theses they called When Najd Meets Hijaz.
Oh, okay. I have to take a look.
That's really, it's by Aziz Al-Isa. She's one of the my supervisors.
Wow.
Or teachers in King Abdulaziz University. She studied the 3 generations from Najd moved to Hijaz. And how are these features, the t sound, the d sound, and the t sound, they are, we can say, decreased or vanished through the time. Wow. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Man, that's so cool. Well, what are you doing these days? Like now, you're teaching? Are you doing research?
Yeah. I'm teaching as an assistant professor in English language.
Oh, wow.
And also I'm working on some of the papers. I finished one and published one, which is about the color idioms between Arabic and English.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we can say بيض الله وجهك.
بيض الله وجهك is like,
yeah, بيض الله وجهك is make it whitening, yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, we don't have this in English.
Right.
Yeah. How are the colors? How are the colors are used in idioms in Arabic and in English as well.
Yes, that's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm working now on the sign language. I came across one of your snaps.
Mm-hmm.
You was criticizing the sign of Dubai in Dubai. I think it was about Christianity or something. A sign language. So it was a shop sign language.
Oh, there was a misspelling in the sign.
Yeah, misspelling, and also sometimes not only the spelling but also the content of the sign language.
Was there like you mean
connotation?
Like, was it like an advertisement?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was like about that. So actually, during that time, I was working, and I'm still working on that. How the sign language, how are the shop sign are transliterated or translated into Arabic wrongly.
Oh, do you remember what it was? The one in the snap? Do you remember which one it was?
It was about All Saints or something. It's about something has a connotation with Christianity.
Oh, I don't know. Well, because I feel like some of them they'll do like a phonetic translation.
Exactly.
Like, oh,
that's wrong.
Right. Okay.
This is exactly what my focus in my paper. You are translated or transliterated that into Arabic, while there is no Arabic word. For instance, we have good cafe. They translated into Joud cafe.
Right. I see that. Yeah, the G because good cafe. Yeah.
Yeah. How come there is no Joud cafe in Arabic? So that's why you are ruining, actually, even if you are as an English native speaker, if you want to read that word in Arabic, you will say Joud cafe.
Yeah, that's with Joud cafe. Yeah.
Yeah, Joud cafe is not mirroring the English one, the English version. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've noticed that on a few different signs, like how they'll just have the phonetic spelling in Arabic, what they think is this phonetic spelling. So even my name is Shannon, my English name. And before I learned Arabic, my ID when I was working in Dubai, they put Shin Alif Nun Wow Nun.
Shanoon, yeah.
And then when I try to write it, and I'm thinking, no, that's Shanoon. It should be Shin Alif Nun Nun Shannon. That's the akthar, yani akthar sahih. But lots of people like they don't know how to like. So it's like you really have to like get into like how is it actually pronounced? You know, a lot of them maybe they don't know how it's actually pronounced.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why the المجمع اللغة العربية, the Arabic Virtual Association, they created a new sound in Arabic, which is the g sound, which was not exist in Arabic, actually. I'll show it to you right now.
Okay.
Which is the g sound. It's like the fa. I hope it's
the Jim with 3 dots.
No, this one.
Oh.
It's like, this one is the g sound.
So they've just created that for the sake of getting the g sound. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So this is actually very, very important invention in Arabic here, because you are doing that for the sake not to ruin English and not to ruin Arabic as well.
Yeah.
And this sound, in both sides. Yeah, when I write good cafe, I'll write it with this sound, with this letter, not with the j sound.
Well, thank you so much. You've been this is so interesting. We have to do this again. Like you have so much knowledge and I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.